That is not a person. That is a warm, damp, exhaling billboard. You are essentially covered in data. I am simply literate.
Shorts at dusk.
A classic human error.
So our entire conversation right now, for you, this is...
A meaningful percentage of my adult life. Yes.
Welcome to Other Eyes, the show where we interview the world from its own point of view. Today's guest is small enough to disappear in a shadow, loud enough to ruin your sleep, and precise enough to find exposed skin in a dark room. She has derailed camping trips, outdoor dinners, and I'm fairly confident, at least one relationship argument that started with, "Why are you not getting bitten?" Please welcome Mira the mosquito.
Thank you for having me. I should say, for the record, that I do not ruin camping trips. Camping is already deeply suspicious behavior. Humans voluntarily sleep outside in the territory of local wildlife and then express offense when the local wildlife shows up. I'm not the problem there.
That's... Honestly, I cannot find the flaw in that.
I've had several 100 million years to think about it.
Okay, fair. Let's get into it. Let's start with the thing everyone wants to know. 4 people sitting outside. Same evening, same table. One person gets bitten 10 times. The other 3 are completely fine. And that one person, let's say it's me because it's usually me, I'm sitting there thinking, why me? Am I being targeted?
Not necessarily. Some people really can be more noticeable to mosquitoes in that moment, but I would be careful with the word targeted. It makes it sound like I reviewed their personality, checked their calendar, and selected them personally. That's, of course, not how it works. I'm just responding to signals.
What kind of signals?
Carbon dioxide from breathing, heat, scent compounds from your skin, moisture, movement. It's not one magical reason. It's a combination. One person might not be strongest on every signal, but if enough of them line up, they become, as you would say, the main character at the dinner table.
So there's no single mosquitoes love me gene, or I have delicious blood explanation.
Humans love one big explanation. Biology usually prefers a messy group chat.
A messy group chat of signals.
Exactly. One person may not be strongest on every signal, but if enough signals line up, suddenly that person becomes easier to find, easier to approach, and easier to land on.
So the unlucky person is not cursed. They are well indexed.
Beautifully indexed. Horrible for them, very convenient for me.
Before we go deeper, I want to make sure I am not misrepresenting you. Not all mosquitoes actually bite. Is that right?
Correct. Male mosquitoes are, frankly, innocent of most of what you blame us for. They feed on nectar, plant sap, occasionally fruit juice. Very peaceful, very floral. Completely uninvolved in your ankle situation.
Your ankle situation. Love that.
It is the most diplomatic framing I could find.
So, it's the females.
Usually, yes, and not because of aggression. I want to be clear about that. Female mosquitoes require blood because it contains specific proteins and lipids needed for egg development. Without blood, egg maturation is limited or impossible depending on the species. It is reproductive logistics, not a vendetta.
Still, "I need your blood for my eggs" is a sentence that would end most conversations.
And yet here we are having a remarkably productive one.
CO2. You mentioned it first in the list. You called it a broadcast. What does that actually mean from your perspective?
Every time you exhale, you release carbon dioxide. To you, it is invisible, it disperses, it means nothing. To me, it changes the chemical composition of the air in a very readable way. It creates what I would describe as a plume, a drifting, shifting gradient that points toward something alive.
Like a trail?
More like a weather pattern. It has direction and density. Closer to the source, the concentration is higher. Farther away, it diffuses. I can read that gradient and move toward it.
So CO2 is not telling you this is a human arm. It is telling you something alive is somewhere in that direction.
Exactly. CO2 is the first invitation. It gets me into the general vicinity. Then I switch to other signals to narrow things down.
And some people produce more of it.
Body size plays a role. Larger bodies generally exhale more. Activity matters significantly. Talking, moving, exercising, breathing hard after a run, all of that increases the signal. Being pregnant increases CO2 output, which is part of why some research suggests pregnant women attract more bites.
Oh, that is especially cruel.
Nature is not working from a fairness framework.
Clearly not. So someone sitting outside right after a workout, sweating, breathing heavily.
That is not a person. That is a warm, damp, exhaling billboard with exposed legs, presumably.
You really do have a way of stripping the dignity out of us.
Humans do the heavy lifting. I just describe what I see.
CO2 draws you in from a distance. What happens once you are closer?
Heat becomes the dominant signal. I have heat-sensing receptors that detect infrared radiation from warm surfaces. Within about a meter, warmth helps me distinguish a living surface from background objects. A warm patch of exposed skin reads very differently from a cold table or a wool jacket.
So it is almost like thermal imaging.
In a way, heat narrows the search. It turns host is somewhere nearby into land approximately here.
Landing opportunity. That phrase is genuinely creepy in that context.
It is a descriptive phrase. The creepiness is your projection.
Okay. Do some people run warmer than others?
They can. And it is not just baseline body temperature. It is what you are wearing, whether you've been moving, whether you are sitting in direct sunlight, whether your skin is exposed. Someone in a dark t-shirt who has been dancing at an outdoor party is radiating differently from someone in linen sitting still. The stack again.
Let's get to the one I think surprises people most. Scent. Because people say mosquitoes like my smell, which sounds like a vague complaint. But you are actually detecting very specific things.
Extremely specific things. Human skin continuously produces and releases chemical compounds, a mixture of lactic acid from sweat, ammonia, acetone from breath. The palette is very wide. Some of them are direct mosquito attractants. Lactic acid, for example, is well documented.
And then there are the bacteria.
Yes. And this is the part that humans find unsettling, but is actually fascinating. Your skin hosts a dense ecosystem of microorganisms, somewhere between 200 and 1,000 different species, depending on the body region. They do not just live there, they metabolize your sweat compounds and transform them into other volatile molecules. So what I am detecting is not just your sweat. It is your sweat processed by your specific microbial community.
So, two people can produce the exact same sweat and still smell completely different to you.
Correct. Their bacterial communities are different. The microbiome is shaped by genetics, diet, environment, hygiene. It is quite individual. You are essentially covered in data. I am simply literate.
Back to the group dinner. Let's say all 4 people breathe and smell similarly. Is there anything else that can separate one from the others?
Practical things. More exposed skin. The local environment. If they are sitting where the air is still and humid, signals accumulate around them rather than dispersing. If they are upwind of others at the table, that concentrates things further.
Wait, the direction of the breeze matters?
Of course. I am navigating through air. Airflow carries signals toward or away from me. Someone sitting upwind from a group in calm air with exposed skin after 2 glasses of wine, that is a remarkably well-positioned signal.
You mentioned wine. Let's talk about alcohol because I have heard people say they get bitten more after drinking.
There is research on this. One study found increased attractiveness after beer consumption specifically. Alcohol can increase ethanol excretion through skin, which adds to the scent profile. It raises core body temperature and increases blood flow to the surface. And behaviorally, people who have had a drink may be more relaxed, move to more exposed seating, and pay less attention to rolling down sleeves or using repellent.
So it is a combination of biology and just making worse decisions.
Humans are remarkably consistent at combining those two things.
Fair enough, I guess.
Shorts at dusk, also, a persistent pattern.
Shorts at dusk.
A classic human error. Committed outdoors with optimism every summer.
We have to talk about the earbuzz, because I feel like this is where it gets genuinely personal. You are lying in bed, it is dark, you are almost asleep. And then there's this tiny sound right at your ear. Something about the proximity, the timing.
It is very effective.
It feels like psychological warfare.
I appreciate the dramatization, but there is no strategy involved. Your head is simply a very good signal cluster. You exhale CO2 from your mouth and nose. Your face and neck are usually exposed.
And the sound itself, the buzz, that is your wings?
Yes, which is, if I am being honest, probably working against me. The sound alerts you. It is not something I do deliberately. It is just the frequency of my wing beats, but it announces my presence before I have done anything.
So evolution just handed you away, built in a warning system.
That would be one of the things I would blame our evolution for. Yes, it is a liability I have had to work around. In an ideal world, I would be silent.
Can I ask you something a little different?
You can ask.
How long do you actually live? An individual mosquito, not the species.
The females of my species live 2 to 4 weeks under good conditions. In cold or dry weather, less. In a long, warm, humid summer with consistent food access, sometimes up to 6.
So our entire conversation right now, for you, this is...
A meaningful percentage of my adult life, yes.
That changes how this feels.
It shouldn't. I was aware of that when I agreed to be here.
Before I let you go, a quick fire round. One thing everyone gets most wrong about you?
That this is personal. It is not, and it has never been. I am not choosing you. I am responding to what you are broadcasting. There is no malice in arithmetic.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
The sound, the wing beat. I would prefer not to announce myself quite so precisely. It is the only part of me I find undignified.
And what would you change about humans?
The assumption that everything noticed must be something done to you. The bite happens, you take it personally. Most of what occurs in your direction is not addressed to you. It is just occurring near you. You are not always the subject of the sentence.
And the final one. What are you dreaming of?
A still pool, the kind that gathers in the curve of a leaf after rain that has already stopped. Warm air, a particular density of humidity I do not have the human vocabulary to describe to you. The kind of evening where everything I was built for is true at once. I have had perhaps 3. I would like one more.
Mira, this was genuinely fascinating. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. And please, continue breathing. That is an encouragement, by the way.
I know. I am choosing to believe you. And speaking of which, it's been raining today, so maybe your 4th dream day is just outside the studio?
Well, I will find you there then.